It's dawn in Rio de Janeiro. We're standing on what the author calls the ragged edge.
That precise geographic line where the concrete city just stops.
Right. And the Amazonian jungle begins. There is mist rising off the ground like damp wool. And right there, sitting on this boundary, we are eavesdropping on a conversation between a wild ocelot and a house cat.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like a fable.
It really does.
But don't let the fur fool you. Today we are doing a deep dive into Chapter 3 of The Awakening by Mahendra Shah.
Titled Two Worlds at Dawn.
Exactly. And while it looks like a scene about animals, it is actually this relaxed but incredibly intense philosophical interrogation. We're looking at the trade-offs we all make between freedom and security.
Right, because we have Okar, the wild ocelot, and Whiskers, the domestic ginger tabby. And this isn't just a casual chat. It's a full-on collision of ideologies.
It is the classic gilded cage paradox.
So let's unpack the core tension here. Okar represents absolute autonomy.
Yeah, he's perched on this mossy branch looking down, and he views Whiskers not with envy at all. He looks at her with pity.
Which is kind of wild because usually, the wild animal is the one struggling for survival.
Context is key here, though. I mean, Okar admits the struggle. He talks about the freedom singing in his blood, but he doesn't hide the costs.
Right, he mentions the fox last moon.
And the cold rain. He explicitly states that hunger is a constant companion.
But that's the insight. Right. He argues that this proximity to death is exactly what gives his life texture.
Yes.
It's the idea that scarcity creates value. Because he might die tomorrow, the warmth of the sun today just feels so much more intense.
Precisely. He actually calls the silence of the woods sacred. His argument is that danger is the entry fee for belonging to the world.
If you aren't at risk, you aren't really participating. You're just observing.
Which brings us to his critique of Whiskers. He doesn't just say she's lazy. He says she is unsafe.
Yeah, he tells her that her world is built on sand. That feels like a very specific psychological trigger he's hitting.
Oh, it's a heavy blow.
The illusion of control.
Exactly. Okar asks her, what if the hands that stroke become fists?
Wow.
Right. He is completely dismantling the concept of domestic safety. He's pointing out that Whiskers has traded the predictable threats of nature.
The fox's teeth.
Yeah, for the unpredictable whims of a human owner. In Okar's view, dependency is the highest risk of all because you simply cannot mitigate it.
So Whiskers is effectively betting her survival on a social contract she didn't even write.
She is.
But she pushes back, doesn't she? She doesn't just roll over and accept this.
No, not at all. And her defense is incredibly rational. She frames it as a resource exchange.
She trades autonomy for warm milk.
A radiator.
And gentle hands. Her argument is really about mental bandwidth.
Yes. She tells Okar that because she doesn't have to listen for the snap of a twig that signals death, she has the space to listen to her human breathe.
She values predictability over adrenaline.
She values concrete and kindness. And she challenges Okar's romanticism entirely. She basically tells him, look, freedom has scars.
Being loved and cared for is a valid form of existence, even if it comes with a latch on the door.
Right. It's the argument for civilization itself. We accept constraints to avoid the chaos of the wild.
There's a distinction they make near the end about connection that I found really fascinating. Whiskers has affection. She gets petted. But Okar describes his connection to the world as something else entirely.
He calls it kinship.
Kinship, right.
This is a crucial distinction in the text. Whiskers receives affection as charity, but Okar feels kinship through shared struggle.
The howl of the coyote.
The silent understanding between predator and prey. His connection is earned, whereas hers is given.
That is a stark difference. Earned versus given.
And that leads to the visual separation at the very end. Whiskers heads back to the city, and Okar just melts into the vine and vigilance.
The text leaves us with Okar's final thought, which is so poetic. Different jungles, both have thorns, both have blossoms.
It really reframes the whole debate.
It isn't that one is right and the other is wrong.
No.
It's that there is no path without pain.
Exactly. You cannot escape the thorns. You can only choose which kind of thorns you want to deal with. The sharp, immediate danger of the wild, or the dull, existential anxiety of dependency.
Bringing this back to you listening right now, we obviously aren't choosing between the jungle and a radiator. But we make this choice in our careers and relationships constantly.
Every single day. Think about it. Do you stay in the corporate job?
The warm milk.
Right, where the paycheck is steady, but you have zero control over layoffs. Or do you start the business?
The wild breath.
Where you have total control, but you might starve. Do you choose the partner who is safe and predictable? or the one who really challenges you?
We are constantly choosing between the soft cushion and the ability to leap.
And that is the question to walk away with today. Look at your current situation. Are you simply being tolerated by your environment because you follow the rules? Or do you belong to it because you've earned your place, scars and all? You have to ask yourself, have you chosen your thorns wisely?
And to take that one step further, if you spend your whole life avoiding the thorns entirely, do you end up numbing yourself so much that you can't even feel the blossoms when they finally bloom? Something to think about.